Ooh, pretty packed house, 12. Anyways, um, so good afternoon. I am Salvador Hernandez. I've been a teacher at PSJA Southwest since 2017. Um, Pretty much I got hired after a round of interviews all over the RGV um, as a last minute hire before the school year started. And I've been there ever since. So today I'm going to be presenting on how to create lessons with no red ink. But more so, I kind of want to give you the impression or give you an idea of how to approach new technologies or new tutoring programs. Because a lot of what I notice is a lot of teachers go when they look at a new program and kind of just take the bare minimum from it, and they don't really explore the program, or they just ignore it completely until they're told that they have to use it. I think it's good for a teacher to kind of look at these programs more critically and kind of observe all the little details of it. Now, a quick question: which of you or who has used no red ink before or has heard of it? You can just leave a comment. You have not? Okay. You have used it. Holly. Why do I recognize that name? Were you doing curriculum writing 2 years ago? Or am I thinking of someone else? No? Oh, okay. Uh, all right, so some of you have used it, some of you have not, which was good because now I'll show you how we could approach kind of looking at this program. Now, before that, I also kind of want to kind of have a small hook for those of you who kind of why these programs are important.
It's important to me. Look, my kids at home, they give me no respect.
Hello,
Hey,
how are you?
Rollo.
It's good to see you too.
How are you, man?
I'm all right. I'm all right. So, I mean, you're getting an award tonight for contribution
Yeah.
to film and stage.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you feel about that? And what do
I
you
feel
think?
good, but Rollo, I'm sorry, man. We go way back. I used to teach you at high school in PE, and I want to know how your physical education is progressing. It's very important to me. You guys don't know that, but this man here, yes, I used to teach you at Uppingham School in London. Yes, that's right.
Oh, no!
How is your education going?
Oh, it's going great.
Did I set you up for life?
Oh, yes, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
Anyway,
Yeah.
back to the festival. You've got a nice shade of red there, Rollo.
Now, of course, I mean, like we've seen you as Wolverine doing a berserker rage, and in this, you're very, very angry. I mean,
Yep.
in reality, what makes you angry? I mean, what?
You know what makes me angry, Rollo? You know, students who don't really listen.
No, no.
No, it's the kind of student who don't bring their kit. You know, the kind of students who don't jump in the pool when I tell them to jump in. That's what makes me angry, Rollo. In fact, I'm remembering you more and more.
Oh no, I have to pass over. This is.
Yeah.
Playing again. So, why do you think I showed you that video? I mean, it's a cool clip, but why do you think I showed it to you? Yeah, some students don't listen. Teacher never forgets the students. Exactly. So they'll never forget their students. Also, they remember these little details, right? So teacher never forgets their student. And more importantly, the teacher knows their students pretty well. Just like Hugh Jackman here, even though he's all famous, he still recognizes the students, still remembers like their habits, all that, and that's important because that's the quality that we need to keep in mind when lesson planning. There's this quote I found: "No significant learning occurs without a significant relationship," and At the core of it, that's really what the philosophy behind these tutoring programs. They are tools, but they're only as useful as you know your student, which is why you have to keep in mind and know where they're falling behind at. So we'll review kind of know right in, kind of the approach that we should take with all tutoring programs, and then from there, kind of see how I would use it to develop just a little supplemental lesson, really, and hopefully you get something out of this. This is as much as a learning experience for me as you as well, because I get to show you my process and maybe learn something from you all. So designing the lesson, start with the end in mind. Going all the way back to what we learned when designing a lesson, right? We have to have the end in mind. And when designing a supplemental lesson, we have to really think about the key areas that your students are struggling with. So always keep this question in mind. What areas are your students struggling with? And from there, we can go through the program. So the steps to follow whenever I adopt a software, I think of this general outline and how to familiarize myself with software. So first, I explore the program, right? As we all do when we get into software, we just look around. We don't really know what's going on with it. We kind of have to see what's there. Then we identify the diagnostic tools of the program. We view the provided lessons and assign a supplemental lesson to collect data if data needs to be acquired. Usually, when I do supplemental lessons, you don't do them at the very beginning. You usually do them in the middle of the year, maybe the second 6 weeks. Um, but really, your mindset should be figuring out where your students are at and doing more target instruction and doing some sampling, seeing what they get, what they don't get, where they're struggling with. And then from there, you start to get more prescriptive with your lesson planning. So let's start by looking at the program. So let's review Nord Inc. through this. So let me switch here. So then let's go to Clever. On Clever, you can find any program on here and you can actually add programs to your applications. And then from there, you can add them to a classroom. So even if it doesn't show up on your screen, we do have access to Nord Inc. So you can just look it up in the search bar. I added it here and I favorited it. Favorite, I guess. So Nord Inc. So I click on it, and then it'll log me in there, and I'll share that tab. So Clever, find Nord Inc. on the search bar if you don't have access to it, and it should log you in. Now let's share this tab. So here's how my page looks like, and here we can get a good look at Nord Inc. Some key features of Nord Inc. that I like is it's the fact that it's connected to Clever and it syncs to your Clever rosters. That way, you already have your classes assigned. We see here that the new school year is starting up, so they already assigned the classes. I had to beforehand. I had to go and manually set that though. If you log in through Clever, it should set that by itself. But um, you can also do that on your own with managed classes at the very top. Keep in mind, this is not a premium, so it is limited in its uses. It's good for targeting small grammar lessons and then building from there. So this is a good starting tool to um, build up their grammar and writing skills. Questions so far? It's for UIL. Yes, actually. So when I use Nowhere Inc., the first time I really used it was due to some circumstances. I had to take over a freshman class and I had no access to their rosters. So I had to create an actual classroom for them. So manage classes. So sync with Clever here. You can create a class manually at the very bottom. So create class manually. And you can set grade level. Let's say they're freshmen. And then you can set it. So let's say English 1, English 1, 1B. Here, you can share a class code, send an invite link. The class code is the most direct because sometimes with the invite links, they might not work due to the fact that they're using their personal devices and logs into their personal account. But so I prefer to use a class code, depending also on your students, right? Some students struggle more with technology, as that one freshman class did. Um, but we got it through and we got them joined in. So that way you can create a class and just assign it through there. In addition, like here, edit class, save changes. Let's see. Usually I don't have to add classes, but I think though with Little Sis, it should add them to Clever manually. And from there, they should be joined into the class if they're in your class. Ideally, that would be the best case scenario. Now going back here, again, before we assign assignments, let's look at what they are, right? And we have to think. We have to think like the teachers that we are. We have to look at what they have, how the assignments are. So my assignments, browse and assign. So we see that they have modules, collections of activities, standards and tests, practice, writing, and assessment. Now, already I see practice and assessment might be my best tools here. Writing, I'm not sure since I tend to be more hands-on with writing and I prefer to teach them through paper first and then have them transcribe their writing to the Google Docs. But let's start looking at the modules. So we see here what we have available to us. And if you're following along on your own computer, you can see that it has a lot of things. Even has a Malay and text citations as someone who teaches seniors. Um, some of these are useful, but keep in mind that some of them are locked through premium. So we have to think about what we have available to us. Question marks, exclamation points with citations, and formatting in text citations. These are the harder things, the things that students struggle with, formatting in text citations. I would be good to assign for practice for that, since some students it takes them a while, and giving them extra practice would be good. Active and passive voice, excellent, especially with our EBs. So we don't have some of the advanced practice, but we do have some of the rudimentary stuff that we can use earlier. So let's say this one. What do we have available? So we have view tutorial, preview topic, view lesson. So let's view the tutorial. Let me share this tab. So the students could view this themselves. I prefer to kind of go through this and then um, present it as a lecture, and then use this, go through this again with a student individually if they're struggling with it. Mostly because I like to use all the modalities and I like to create anchor charts for reference in my classroom. So I use this as the jumping off point for an anchor chart that the students will copy in their journal that they can refer to. But usually most student programs have a decent lesson that we can use. So we notice so it goes through what a passive voice is. We're just looking this as a teacher, thinking about, okay, this is good. Um, why is this important? That, and if you want to differentiate, you could also go with the student one-on-one and talk through each step. Notice how it's scaffolding everything. So a good differentiation technique would be to maybe use this for your lecture, but then if the student is struggling, um, go look at it one by one, and then clear up any misunderstandings that that one student may have. Now we preview the topic. So this is what the students would have to do. One thing to keep in mind with No Red Ink, you will definitely have to give them time beforehand to fill out a questionnaire, since these questions are the responses here and the subjects are based around the favorite media. So they ask them what their favorite TV shows are, what books they like, what video games they play, and they grab names from all those all that media that they consume, and they put them into sentences. So I've seen um, some of their questions ask about characters from an anime. It takes the generic sentence structure and just changes the proper nouns for them, which I thought was interesting, and it keeps some of the kids engaged that they're talking about people that they watch on TV or characters that they're interested in. So drag any unnecessary words here. My homework ate the dog yesterday. So my homework ate the dog. My homework ate the dog. And notice here how they split homework and dog. They probably changed that around. I don't know why their algorithm changed it like that, but yeah. So this is just a tutorial. Okay. Yeah, but you notice like you can't really do that unless. Oh, okay. Yeah, and this is what the tutorial is to kind of help them. So drag any necessary words here. Now drag the word tomorrow from the great word menu to the front of your answer. Tomorrow, the dog ate my homework. Okay. I was just having one of those moments. So it's still summer. Ate too will eat. The dog will eat my homework tomorrow. Thank you. And then it's, as I mentioned here, sometimes that there are different ways. So drag tomorrow to the front of your answer. Tomorrow, the dog will eat my homework. So what this is just a tutorial to kind of help the students. Tells them the answers, and then they can begin practicing on their own, and it has some practice sets for them. Questions so far? Where can we see the progress? Okay, so yeah, we kind of played around with that. So share this tab instead. Student data. So student data, we have grades, mastery, writing portfolios. So you can even see their portfolios for topics, um, mastery, and it has all the pathways. Again, if we get the license, which I'm hoping we do, but again, it's free software and it has enough that it's usable for our needs. So it gathers their progress here and grades as well. So grades automatically. So let's create an assignment. Modules, active and passive voice, assign, I'm not going to assign early work to my new classes right away. Okay, 20 points. Active slash passive voice. My assignments. So it's here. No results, but yes, it also you can also see the results there. And it usually gives you a grade and progress, as well as how they did. So with that, you can use that both as a moderating tool and as a good way to gather a good average on the class and how they're doing. You can also assign a quiz if you want a more concrete benchmark. Since the practice, what I tend to do with the practice is I tend to walk around and assist those that need help because I'd rather that they get it rather than just get all the answers wrong. And of course, the point of practice is that they improve. And if you preview it, they'll see this. You can actually assign a series of topics and create like a module that they can go through. An example of what I did with this, I assigned a whole module with commas and had them go each day through a different part of the module. That way, once they went through it, they pretty much went through a small unit on commas. And I assigned that a couple weeks before the benchmark, since I noticed that they were behind. This was the one freshman class that I had to take over that I was figuring out where they were. Let's see. Now let's go back here. So you kind of saw how we can assign assignments, where we can monitor progress. We view the provided lessons. Now let's think about how I would lay out a lesson. So let's go back here. Did it stop sharing? I think it stopped sharing. Okay. More. Share tab. There we go. Apologies for that. Anyway, so here is a sample lesson. I based this off conjunctive adverbs or themos, therefore, however. What was the A again? So the year hasn't started. Moreover, otherwise, no. Why am I blanking out on this? Anyways, I recognize the function of them by successfully identifying them in practice. So let's say in this hypothetical classroom, I think they're struggling in identifying conjunctive adverbs. More importantly, I want to also increase their use of these adverbs in their own writing. So my goal would be identifying them in practice, and then maybe supplement it later with putting it in writing. So part one would be first introducing this. This lesson is only supposed to take like 15, 20 minutes tops. Since I still have other things to go throughout the day, it is a supplemental lesson. It's supposed to be short. So for the you do, the teacher will explain conjunctive adverbs and their purpose while creating an anchor chart for the students. Then I have some key questions that I came up with. So this I'll use based on the lesson provided by Norward Inc. I convert that into an anchor chart that the students can copy and have to reference. I prefer having more than one modality for the students to make sure that they use both, right? Using both technology and paper and pencil to kind of give them both options at the same time, help those who kind of struggle with technology and give them a way to engage and to make them feel more comfortable as they get used to it. The students will answer questions when prompted and create a copy of the anchor chart and their notes for individual reference. Then, when they go with this, they work on the practice that you assign. So a teacher will facilitate as students move into groups. So again, you group them based on what and the groupings you have. Monitor and assist students with the practice question sets on an individual or group level. So you can go on a group level, so you can go and to each group and see where they're at, if they're struggling with anything, or if you know those couple trouble students who really need that assistance, you could go one-on-one and help with them with those practice sets. Questions so far? Any suggestions on how you use them in your classroom? For those that have used No Red Ink or similar programs. The thing that I'm hoping you notice is that, or that you will notice, is that a lot of these tutoring programs are very similar. So the same thought process, group them in No Red Ink. You don't have to group them in No Red Ink. Their progress is as it's individualized, but you group them in person. What usually happens is if a student's struggling, the other one assists them, and they can help each other answer their own questions. Now, it's a difference, right, between them helping each other and them giving the other student the answer. So you have to make sure that they're earnestly helping them. So that's where the teacher monitoring comes in place. And we kind of have to make sure that the student is trying to learn. At the end of the day, though, as teachers, we can only do so much, right? It's up to the student to make that effort to learn. So we group them in person while they work on No Red Ink. Now, depending on the program, though, some of them you can group them together. I know, for instance, IXL. I've gone through the trainings for that one. You can actually create jam sessions where you all essentially share the same session and work on it together. So there are times where our programs, and again, this is why like you have to look at all the programs to kind of see how you use them. For No Red Ink, that's not an option yet. I don't know what they might add later on in the future, right? The good part about these programs is that they're always changing, they're always adding new things. Now for the you do alone, if you want to, you can assign a quiz, or if you want to continue it later, you could assign a quiz later if you're going to go over it for the whole week. So honestly, the you do and you do together, we do together would be fine for the first supplemental lesson if you divide it into two. And then you can do a quiz next time, one, to get them motivated to study if they want to pass and want a good grade. Two, to kind of go over more complex things. That way you don't overload their brain and kind of get them used to the concepts. So really think about how you want to separate and use that. Just because they're all linked under the same subject, that doesn't mean um, that really doesn't mean that you have to assign it all at once. So that's really how I would assign it and how I would use it. You have a sample menu lesson? Well, this one here on the slide would be a sample menu lesson. Um, the thing I would do that I have to come up here to make it more complete would obviously be an anchor chart here, um, and here in the we do together. Let's see, do I have a sample menu lesson? Let me look at my slides quickly. Mm, nope, not that one. Sorry, you know how all your lessons build up. So we just, no, not that one. Trying to find a good one that I could use to show you. So here's one that I would use with no red ink. So first I would go through and share this with the students and create an anchor chart. So what is a comma splice? And then just use the examples. These should be familiar to you. These are from the curriculum that we have available by PSJA. I just reformatted it um, just because I don't know, I just felt that this looked better to me. So I just did that. I went through the lesson on comma splices. And then from there, went through this example. And then from there, I assigned an assignment through IXL when we had that license. I'm hoping we have that license this year. It looks like it's still in Clever. So I'm crossing my fingers that we still have it. But if you could do a similar lesson like that, right? So after doing this, having them write their notes. Where is the tab? There. So after doing the lesson, having them write their notes, you could then go to No Writing and have them do the assignment and go in a group. So really think of it as a tool in your arsenal that you're using to kind of help them understand and differentiate instruction as you go with them one-on-one. Um, it can be. So it's both. Because again, you're using it to practice, so you're giving the problems that you're going and seeing where they're struggling with it. So as they answer the questions, they should be doing better. And if they're struggling, you should, as a teacher, go up to them and help them and assist them with the questions. Then with the quiz, you would use that as an assessment tool. You have to look at each part of the program and think about how you could use it in your instruction. Because the thing with these programs is that they're not designed to all be an assessment tool. They're not designed to all be a mini lesson. They're meant to be more as like a Swiss Army knife. You can use every part to do different things depending on what you need it to do. So let's go back to our dashboard here and let me show you. So browse and assign. Let's do module. Active and passive voice. So should this tab? So view topic. So this is the tutorial. So the overall practice here. Let's drag in a C word. So let's just get a couple of them wrong. So what happens if you get one wrong is it won't count it towards your mastery. So that's fine. I really just want to make sure that everybody understands like the main fundamental points of it. And hint. So yeah. So it's both. So it is both assessment and it is both supplemental questions. It does both because it comes with quizzes and it comes with practice. 228. I think I showed a good amount of the program's about, and I kind of want to see what you all have to do. Well, what you all like think in general about it. So, as a small exit ticket, and as a way to kind of gather more more questions or answers or insights, I want to share this with y'all. So this is a Padlet. Who's used Padlet? No, and that's where a differentiation might have to happen, where you have to go step by step for ELs and show them um, step by step what you have to do. Is at most it explains what the grammar concept is for. Well, yeah, it does do parts of speech, but you will have to slow down for them and kind of go with them one by one. Maybe what I like to do, since I speak both Spanish and English, is I explain similar grammar parts in Spanish and how it works for some of them. That kind of you can see that correlation with, and then just show them through the examples that the program provides. Yeah, no problem. Now for the Padlet is just to see if you have any questions, if you want to just write your insights there. Um, about 25 minutes. So I'm just going to close us off with this, give you about 10 minutes to kind of write things there. It's know what I want to know and learned. Um, and then we'll kind of read them and give you a bit. They also put out the survey. So thank you for sitting through my first presentation. This is the first time I've ever presented one of these. Hopefully you found some insights. Hopefully I taught you something. Yeah, you're welcome. Do you have any questions? Mhm. You're welcome. You're welcome. Mm. Make sure you complete the survey as well before you're on your way. I will review these questions, these your responses in a bit, just to kind of see if I can answer any of them for you all, and see if I can clarify anything, especially in the want to know. You're welcome. So no, individualized learning, how to use narrating for quit writes as a bell ringer or exit ticket. Helpful supplemental tool for involving grammar. Improving grammar, I know that's good review for foundations, grammar, and writing. Okay. Want to know how to utilize narrating better? Always practice. With these programs, um, the more time you spend using it and kind of messing up or succeeding with it, the more you pick up. That's really like the hardest part and why some teachers don't like it is because they don't like messing up with programs. Um, but that's how you learn, right? So, more ways to incorporate this resource in lesson plans. Um, so again, with these, it's up to your imagination too, right? For instance, for bell ringers, I've actually used it for bell ringer. Okay, so we'll review this concept, log in, and work on what I assigned, and I'll have them work on it for a couple minutes and see how they did. To know lessons are aligned to new STAR exam, also able to create our own lessons. So for the STAR exam, grammar, revising and editing is a part of it. So it should be similar, or at the very least, be they should ask about commas and stuff like that. Another thing is with writing, if you link what they learned through the lessons with writing and make that correlation for them, especially with um, comma splices, avoiding them, and all that, make those connections. That'll improve the writing as well. So I like to use both the writing and editing, not just to practice on their multiple choice responses, but also to kind of make sure that they make the connection with the writing at the end of the day. Make sure that they see the bigger picture. Learned. Yeah, it is convenient that you can sync it to Google Classroom. Mm-hmm. Practice and progress monitoring. Excellent. All right, so I guess that's the end of the session. You can stay if you still have questions to ask me, or if you want, well, yeah, just if you have any questions to ask me or any insights you want to share. Hope you learned something, and thank you.